All right. This is the Denver show. I'm the Denver. This is Blather Haphazard night. Blather Haphazard, which means thank you. So it's the show about nothing and sometimes something. Sometimes we have guests. Sometimes we have a topic. Tonight, I'm just kind of winging it. Also, I have a guest host again. We're bringing back the great Jeremy, the Iron Fox.
Scott, let's go with Jeremy, the Iron Fox Scott. I think I'll start to use that now for my talk show.
Jeremy, Iron Fox Scott.
Iron Fox Scott. Not my real last name.
All right. See, you have to see if you can fit that on your name tag there, but
maybe, or just I could take off the. Just Jeremy Iron Fox Scott, and then just put the quotation marks.
Right. Jeremy's an awesome dude, very intelligent dude, and I like his perspectives on things, and he really he sees things differently. So I like to bring him on.
I get into my renewed understanding of Okinawan karate.
Okinawan karate?
Like I've just started looking at
the dojo in the jungle.
The hobo dojo.
Hobo dojo.
The hobo dojo that
out in the woods.
Out in the woods. It's only two training things that I made, but they are the thing that is the most essential in karate practice.
Before we get into that, let's get with my sponsor real quick.
Okay.
We got Wicked Wings and Things here in Alico Road in Fort Myers. If you want a million sauces, if you like really hot stuff, you want to go to Wicked Wings and Things here in Fort Myers on Alico Road. There's their specials. The best wings, the best sauces I've ever tasted. Phenomenal. They have a whole bunch of things. Hamburgers, their fries are phenomenal. Just everything is. So here's all their specials. So you can go to wickedwingsandthings.com, or you can find them on Facebook. So that's our sponsor here. So love Wicked Wings and Things. So, and then I want to let me remove this. I got to share just in case we go to YouTube. Let me share my YouTube screen. And go. It would be here. Okay. There we go. All right. So anyways, I'm Denver, the Big D. You can participate through the chat. If you put your comments in the chat, I can put them on screen. If you hear something you want to talk about, for example, here, Jared Smith. How you doing, Jared? Or I can just drop by next time in Fort Myers. There you go. Jared Smith talking about Wicked Wings.
Oh, you're in Fort Myers now.
So
you've always been there since you moved to Florida, right?
No, where are you, Jared? You haven't been in Fort Myers, right? Oh, I'm in Fort Myers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. Now I'm in Fort Myers.
That's probably how I knew you, because you knew Angela. You knew somebody we knew there. We had a mutual acquaintance.
Oh, okay. Who was it? Who was that?
Angela.
Oh, I think I know a couple Angelas, but yeah. Okay. So you can participate also by in the chat, as you've seen. I can put it on screen. 855-854-TALK. Tonight is an open forum. Anything you want to talk about. If you want to talk about news, politics, religion, something that's pissing you off, something you found was funny. We like to talk about relationships too. Jeremy has some stuff tonight about relationships, and so there's 855-TALK. And also, if it's easier for you to remember, 833 the Big D. I'm the Big D. So 833 the Big D, or 855-854-TALK. Can you believe I got that number? Can you believe I got that number? I grabbed that number like 12 years ago because I knew I wanted to do live call-in show. And so I bought that number. And can you believe that a radio station didn't get that? 855-854-TALK. Talking to you, Jeremy. You're into something too, aren't you? You're looking something up.
Actually, I wanted to show you something. Because this was one of my when I was looking in Japanese history, this was something that I was starting to look at when I looked at the history of karate and Japanese history and how the government was acting at the time. And this actually goes into my libertarian principles too. This is something that intersects my libertarian principles with karate, believe it or not. let's take a look here. Windows. There we go. Look, what do you think this sword can do better than any other blade on the planet?
Is it Excalibur? Let me see it. Let me share it.
No, it's a katana blade. Just a katana.
I was going to say katana. Yeah. What does it do better? I would say it cuts cucumbers.
No. Well, I mean, talking about in a combat sense.
Oh, okay. Well, cuts cucumbers in a combat sense too. No, I would say for beheading, possibly.
This weapon, I believe, was designed to take down highly trained unarmed combatants. Specifically. Okay, notice, because if you ever get, if I was taking on somebody with a traditional sword, right? If me and a buddy of mine was a traditional sword, you know,
which happens quite often.
Well, it probably happened 200 years ago or 100 years ago, or even 100 years ago. It might maybe happened. I doubt it. Maybe 120 years ago. But, you know, a traditional sword has this hilt that goes here and a pummel, a Western sword, an Occidental sword, right? If you were trying to disarm that, that's where you would grab. But here, there's nothing to grab. If you tried to grab, you can't block here because that's a full tang blade. That'll cut you. In a traditional weapon, to be able to parry effectively, this part is flat, the first 6 inches. But somebody with conditioned forearms would be able to block that flat edge. They'd be able to grab the hilt. They'd be able to grab the pommel. The katana blade was specifically, I believe, the big purpose was to be used against highly trained, unarmed combatants.
Are you training with that?
No. I'm training to be unarmed. Like to have equity within my own bones.
Are you training for defense in case somebody attacks you with a katana blade?
No, against anything really. And here's why.
What discipline are you using?
Okinawan karate.
What made you choose that?
Motoburu or Gojuru. I know more. I have a more base of Gojuru, but Motoburu. I love the ideas and philosophies of Motoburu.
Have you looked at that? What's that? Russian? I mean,
Sambo?
No.
Russian. I said Sambo.
Not Russian. Israel has it. The
Krav Maga.
Yes. What do you think of that? That seems like a pretty badass defense.
It's hard to pressure test it. Krav Maga. That's where its big fall is. It's almost impossible to pressure test anything because just about everything is deadly. Now, here's how Okinawan karate is different. In Okinawan karate, you're hitting hard stuff every day as part of your regular training practice. You're hitting something called a makawara, striking board. And what that does is that creates microfractures in your knuckles that heal up over time and make your knuckles harder. You do that just not only with your knuckles. See these knuckles? Not normal looking knuckles, right?
I don't know. What's normal looking knuckles? I never studied
probably
knuckles.
Not well, you see they jut out a little bit more. Like,
what about mine?
No, like they're like I don't know. Like if you turn it to the side, like to the side like this, you see how mine, like my 4 knuckles, come out more. Oh, this thing is messing with me. They come out more. You know. Anyways, I can hit a makawara full blast, like bam, bam.
A
bam,
makawara. I was attacked once by a makawara. I wish I would.
We're not attacked by a makawara, Denver.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Let's not know what it is.
But anyways, it's a striking board. So your knuckles get harder over
time.
Not just your knuckles, but this and this and this and this. And all the techniques in karate were designed for that in mind. And
now you watch UFC, don't you?
Yes.
Now you realize that because I did Taekwondo and I did jujitsu. And you know the wrestling forms like jujitsu kind of disables all the punching and kicking forms.
It does for most people. Now, here's the thing that's different about Okinawan karate and MMA and boxing. In MMA and boxing, the gloves are to protect the knuckles. In karate, it's to protect the other person, the person that you're fighting. So the way, if you put gloves on a traditionally trained Okinawan karate fighter, you have nerfed them considerably. You have taken their fighting of proficiency down by like 60%. because all their power comes from their bones. When they do the reverse punch, that's their bones that are doing the power, the bones that they work their density on. So what they're doing with that reverse punch, or with this, or it could be like a knife hand strike to the temple. Every wrestler, when they take somebody down, they leave themselves open to one hit. They just take that hit.
This is true.
They take
but
that
you
one.
Can. Oh, but, here we go. Hey, Jeremy, I got to tell you, Mark Matheny's chiming in. Mark Matheny is a martial arts expert. He's in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame, and he also does MMA. He also reffed the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So just to let you know.
Yeah, with MMA and boxing, the gloves are to protect the knuckles. In karate, it is to protect the other person because you've been hitting hard surfaces for years and years and years. If you look at an Okinawan karate practitioner's knuckles,
hey, Mark, why don't you call in and tell us about your experiences at the UFC? 855-854-TALK.
Yeah, most UFC fighters never experience this. In my travels, this is their knuckles. Oh, hold on. I should share. Oh, this is their knuckles.
Holy shit. What is that now? Okinawan
That's all
karate?
Dark. That's all dense bone that they've developed over years. In my travels, Florida, Ohio, I've only seen one person with knuckles like those.
Wow.
Now, there's more and less extreme versions of this. Like, that's not as extreme. That's not as extreme. But that's what their knuckles start to look like. And you can't just take a punch from somebody like that.
Mark wants to know if you know what karate means.
Empty hand. Do you know who Motobuchoki was?
Mark Mahobit. I don't know what that is.
Motobuchoki, who he was. He was probably the greatest unarmed fighter in history.
Oh, really?
I would put him above Bruce Lee.
Really?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, but he's never done MMA, right?
No, because he'd probably kill some of them if it was a street fight. Because MMA tends to use techniques where the only counter is something that might kill you. Anytime somebody does a double leg takedown, they risk a deadly blow. It's just illegal to do that blow in MMA.
Well, true. That's the point. There's a way to get in without taking that blow. And if you do take that blow, chances are you will survive it.
No, not with this, dude. If you have that and it's in somebody's temples, if it's in your temple, if it's in here, and they have knuckles like that, that's going to cause severe damage to your head. And I'm not saying that it's not possible. If you look at judo actually does grappling that protects them from one strike like that. Judo does their grappling so that they don't get even one hit off. But MMA, they always give one hit, which is great against somebody who doesn't have cortical remodeling on their knuckles. And if you put gloves on these guys, all that power goes away. All that power goes away just by them wearing gloves.
It's that way with anything, right? I mean,
there's with boxers and mixed martial artists.
What blow are you saying? Mark's asking, what blow are you saying is illegal?
Attack to the spine and back of the head.
Oh, yeah, Mark. He's talking about in MMA, like UFC.
Yeah, you can't do it. Every time somebody shot on me, I was able to hit them in the back of the head. Like, I just couldn't do it because it was against the rules. The only MMA fight, my brother shot legs when I was young, and I looked at his spine, and I was like, God damn it, if it wasn't my brother, I would just nail him in the spine and be done with it.
Okay, but are you telling me that all these MMA, these UFC fighters don't know? Well, okay. Never mind. You're right. It's illegal.
I see them every time. Yeah, they bank on the fact that it's illegal so that they can do that. They know that they can't get hit in the head. I
think they can do the spine. They just can't do the back of the head.
No, you can't do
I don't know. Let me ask. Let's ask Mark.
You can't attack the spine.
Mark was a UFC ref.
3 fingers here, all the way down. You cannot attack the spine.
Hey, Mark, you want to call in? 855-854-TALK.
And I think that original point contact was like a rough
No,
sport.
he doesn't want to call in. All right.
Yeah, it'd probably be a shouting match. Original point contact was a rough sport.
What's that?
Original Okinawan point contact was a rough sport, like rugby. Like, it became sissified, but they wore full gear and they had to hit each other as hard as possible. And that was an accurate predictor of who would win in a fight because they trained themselves to only be able to need one hit.
All right. Well, you studied it more than I have, so I did Taekwondo and I did some jiu-jitsu.
You know what Taekwondo
I studied with Mark a little bit on jiu-jitsu.
You know what Taekwondo is good for is taking out like 4 or 5 or 6 guys who don't know how to fight.
I can agree with that. MMA is the way to go.
No, MMA would get sunk on that situation, like 6 guys who don't know how to fight.
No, right. I'm talking about a street fight, yeah.
But it's great for one guy who really knows what they're doing. But it's bad for like 6 or 7 people who don't know how to fight because then they'll just get swarmed. But one person who really knows what they're doing, like a Navy SEAL or something, that's MMA all the way. I wouldn't use MMA against a knife. I wouldn't use it against a baseball bat. It's just there's just like whenever you tie up with somebody, you can't even give them one opportunity. But it definitely has effectiveness, especially if you're not trying to kill somebody and you just want to put them down.
All right. Well, there's our resident Jeremy, martial arts. I've been studying this for 38 years, learning different various martial arts for 38 years. Yeah.
And I've never studied one for a particularly long time. I got the 2nd degree in Taekwondo and Goju-Ryu, a green belt in Jiu-Jitsu, state qualifying wrestler, did Muay Thai for 5 years, and all of my studies came me back around to Okinawan karate as the most effective street defense.
All right. It's hard to believe because I tend to think that the more wrestling martial arts, because almost every
ground fighting in karate.
Yeah, 90% of the fights in the street go to the ground. Most of them go to the ground.
Now, here's how karate works with that. Okay, first off, they keep in mind that these are people that are having to strengthen their grip. When you're dealing with this, like 10 years at this point in time, you need to strengthen your fingers. That's the time because you're working to being able to do a spear finger strike. Think about the advantage of being able to do a spear finger strike. If your fingers were strong enough that it didn't bend when it went to collision. Because say you could do 60 push-ups on your fingertips and your fingers are hard like stone. In a street fight, that's a big advantage. You have so much more range. You can get in between their rib cage, but you have to train for years to be able to do that. A knife hand strike, that's a big advantage. You have to train for years to be able to do that, but it's a big advantage. And karate had ground fighting. People didn't know that. Their ground fighting was so that they can get that one hit that they needed. That's where their ground fighting went in. They didn't get to a submission hold. They got a punch to the temple or a punch right underneath the nose or a punch here. And it would be done with knuckles like that.
Have you studied the 1-inch punch?
Don't buy it totally. I think they push more than they punch.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
But hey, hold on.
All right.
Motobuchoki did that though. So maybe.
Well, I don't know, but I got some right here. I'll play some, see what we think of these. These are the top 10 1-inch punches we're going to share here. Top 10 1-inch punches. If you want to get involved in the conversation, 855-854-TALK. This is open forum tonight, so anything you want to talk about. So here we go. Top 10. Can you hear the audio, Jeremy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
DKU fought see, he was pushing him.
All right, hold on. Well, we'll see if all 10 of them are pushing. Okay, that's a push. I agree. It looks like a push.
I don't totally buy into Bruce Lee, although I think he was one of the greatest. I don't think he was as legendary.
Hold on a second. Let me turn the audio down on this.
I don't agree with the 2-finger push-ups that he did.
Let me mute the audio on that. What did you say?
I don't agree with a lot of things that Bruce Lee did. I don't agree with his 2-finger push-up. I think it's a bad idea to do push-ups on 2 fingers.
I know. Well, I don't think the point is let's do 2-finger push-ups. The point is mind over matter.
Well, it's going to damage your joints. But I totally believe in fingertip push-ups.
This is kind of the same guy. Now, Bruce Lee, when he did it, I don't know. Everybody's win against Bruce Lee's talked about what a badass he was.
Oh, no, I definitely believe he's up there. I said he's one of the greats. I think Choki was the better fighter. Just because the kind of weapons that he had is...
What's his name? Is he on here? Choki? How you spell his name?
Motobu Choki. I have a... let's see.
How you spell his name?
Hold on.
I'll look for him on the YouTube.
Jesse Encamp's brother Oliver Encamp fought a dude who protected his face in an MMA fight by turning his head.
Motobu Choki, like that. Let me see if I can find him on here.
You'll have something with Jesse Encamp.
Motobu Choki. There he is. All right, let's look this up and let's see if we can find any demonstration. Now, how old is this guy? When was this guy around?
He died at the age 74, somewhere around 74.
It says the greatest fighter in history. That's what one YouTube says. Greatest fighter and only practiced one kata.
He only practiced one kata. I understand because he understood why people practice kata. So he created one kata that fit one or two katas that fit everything that he needed to do. So I adopted that and I created my own kata, Tetsu Kitsune, that does what a kata is.
Would you be willing to go to MMA MMA match and test it?
It would have to be bare knuckle. That's the thing. Remember what I said? You put gloves on a karate fighter, you nerf them. It doesn't do much of a difference with karate or with MMA. With boxing, gloves protect the knuckles. So it'd have to be bare knuckle.
Here, hold on. Let's see what this is. This is here he is right here.
No, that's Genshin Funakoshi. He was a fraud.
No,
Genshin Funakoshi was.
Hold on. This is about.
Okay. So the Japanese government was pushing Genshi Funakoshi's
Wait a second.
karate.
Let me turn this down. What are you saying?
The Japanese government was pushing Shotokan karate. So Shotokan karate is the kind of karate people think about when people think about karate being a joke. It's Shotokan. It wasn't designed to protect yourself. It's like Japanese yoga.
Slow-mo yoga.
Well, it's not slow, but
slow-mo karate.
It wasn't slow.
I know.
It wasn't designed for protection.
Didn't you see that commercial? It's a commercial on TV.
Oh, no.
Slow-mo karate. That's all yoga is.
He didn't like kicking anybody above the solar plexus. So no kicks to the head. He rarely ever kicked at all. It was mostly strikes and grappling that he used.
All right, hold on. You're getting good.
He was 54 years old. He beat a French boxer. He was a drunk, broke, chubby womanizer. So he wasn't exactly a model citizen, but he knew how to fight. Genshi Funakoshi was the opposite. He didn't know how to fight worth a lick, but he was a model citizen. So Japan was pushing Funakoshi Genshi and not Motobu Choki because, and one of the other reasons why I think that was because Motobu Choki, Japanese police officers didn't use firearms until 1949. Before that, it was a jitte. Choki's students would be able to easily block those blows with just their arms. Whereas with Genchi students wouldn't be able to do that. Their arms would break.
Well, I'll check. Yeah, I'll check this out. Check this video out. I never heard of him.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people haven't. Japan made sure of that. They made sure of that, but he still managed to eke out an existence, even though the government totally did not like what he was teaching, because his students would be able to just like throttle government agents if they wanted to at that time.
All right. So now on another topic, first of all, I'd like to say, if you want a great drink, I'm using a Caribbean Malibu coconut rum, orange juice, and mango cranberry juice. Oh my God, it's delicious. And I'm eating wasabi and soy Blue Diamond almonds. So anyways, that's not a sponsorship or anything. They should pay me for that, because we got thousands of viewers. Anyways, I wanted to ask you about some conspiracies. What do you think about the conspiracies? Because you look into things.
Conspiracies. Okay,
let's talk about the moon landing or space. What do you think? Did we land on the moon?
I do. I think that's a little too. I know that people say that they have video footage and stuff like that, but I know that.
What do you think about they lost the footage in the telemetry data? Okay, I mean, how likely is that?
I don't know the facts and figures on that. I do know.
Did you hear about that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, the telemetry data. Are you talking about we don't know how to get people on the moon anymore?
Exactly. They say that they don't know how to get to the moon anymore.
There's no way they wouldn't be able to figure that out anymore.
That's what they said. They said they can't even figure it out anymore.
No. That I don't.
Do you believe it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Don't you? Absolutely not what?
That they couldn't do it anymore. No, they don't want to spend the money to do it.
Okay, let me find that and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
They could be lying about that just so that they don't get pressured into spending the money to do it. But I don't for one moment believe they can't get on the moon again.
I don't either. But so why are people connected? Here we go. Moon landing tapes. Watch this. This is unbelievable. Now, I tend to believe we land on the moon, but this is unbelievable. I mean, why is this like this? If we land on the moon, then why does this exist here? Here we go. Let's get to it.
You realize that if what they're saying is true, that would make landing on the moon crypto technology.
Well, I'm going to show you that. Look what they said. They say they don't have technology anymore to do it.
Yeah. No.
Hold on. Let me see. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Somebody had to record Friends. Do you believe that?
I don't believe that we can't figure it out again. I don't. Like,
do you believe that they reuse the tapes to overwrite them? Come on.
I mean, I've seen stupid people in high positions.
Look,
Denver.
Check this out. Listen, watch this.
So this doesn't mean there were so many other explanations before I would go the landing was a hoax for all of this.
Mm-hmm.
This could be sabotage. This could be a Russian operation, a KGB operation.
For what purpose?
To prevent them from going to the moon again.
For what purpose?
I don't know.
Not put weapons up there on the moon or something?
Maybe. I could see this being like them not being able to do it again, and then Russia still doing what they're doing to be kind of an egg in the face on America. I can conceive of a Cold War version.
Jared said Transformers settled this. There's Autobots hiding on the moon.
The lunar bots. No, I think there's supposed to be a base inside it, isn't there?
Hey, Jared, call in. Tell us what you're doing tonight.
That could actually, but if they found something on the moon, that would be an interesting reason why they all of a sudden lost it. I can tell you this about conspiracies. A lot of them, I think, at least I speculate that a lot of them are the result of market manipulation and insider trading.
A lot of what?
A lot of the crazy conspiracies are really just happen as a result of market manipulation and insider trading.
Oh, and Jared said they want more sun chips too, and garden salsa flavor.
I'm sure the boys in Wall Street get the very best garden salsa flavors.
Hey, Jared, give us a call. Tell us what you're doing.
With a side of Coke.
Anybody.
A side of Coke. And a side of Coke.
Yeah, Coke Zero would be good for me, but all right. 855-854 talk. Call and just tell us what you're doing tonight. Also, if you want to support the Denver show, it does cost money for the software, and there's things I want to do to upgrade this, make it more professional and everything. And to be able to do this full time, actually, there's a Cash App, Denver Sings, or on Venmo, also Denver Sings. Plus, on Patreon, you can look up the Denver Show, and that's ways to support the show. So you can go 833 the Big D or 855-854 talk. And again, this show is sponsored by Wild Wicked Wings of Fort Myers. All right, so Jeremy, you had something to share about relationships too when we were talking about.
Okay, so
you're talking about. I'm gonna write it down. So what's the name of this thing? Arete. A what? How do you say it?
Arete. It's spelled Arete. And it's a Greek word. It means excellence of being. And that is the major thing that makes a man verily attractive. Confidence comes from arete. If you don't have arete, then your confidence is just a show. It's just you're doing things that confident people do, but you don't have real confidence. Not until you actually make some accomplishments in your life, you gain a community that you're supportive of and all of that. I'm going to show a toxic example of arete and a not so toxic example. There's our toxic example of arete. He let his arete get to his head. He got all of a sudden because he became a big E-star.
Yeah, we talked about that last night. He's a gamer and he ended up
soliciting nudes, which is a desperate act. That's something.
Well, he said he didn't do it though. I don't think we ever did. We ever find out the results of that? Did he really do it?
I don't know, but
because he said he had proof that he didn't do it.
But the fact of the matter is that he had a mistress.
What's his name?
Pro Jared. His name is something like Jared something one very word. Long. But he goes by Pro Jared. That was his probably ex-wife, and then there was his mistress. Okay.
So we're talking about arete because if you look at Pro Jared, not to judge people, but he's not exactly an ideal masculine figure. But yet, women flocked over this dude.
Well,
and he
a couple of them within a specific subgroup. That's important. Within a specific subgroup, yes, he would still strike out at a sports bar. You see what I mean? But not a gaming convention.
But, okay, unless the women discovered who he was.
Possibly, then the gold diggers. But the ones he would meet at a convention wouldn't necessarily be like that. It would be more about who he is, his role in the community, and his dominance. But
so arete can be within a specific group or
and it has to be with your passions. It has to be the things you're passionate about.
Last night you mentioned you could be a top dog at homeless shelters.
Right. You can be known as helpless shelters or an activist or something like that. It doesn't have to be money, and it doesn't have to be general. It could just be like for women who are truly virtuous, they might like a man who actually works with charity, instead of just saying, I'm a nice guy, and that's how you get Erte there. But this guy was a gamer. He was passionate about gaming. He was passionate about that type of pop culture. So he created a YouTube channel. He was good enough at gaming to do esports. And as a result, his romantic marketability was increased. Now, let it get to his head, I think, and he started flirting with a whole lot of women and just kind of like taking advantage of that. And he might have messed around on his wife's, behind his wife's back. I could see that happening. Even though he's married to this beautiful woman, he's all of a sudden getting all this attention from all these other women that he never had before. So if you think that he would mess around a little bit, I'm inclined to believe that he did. I'm not necessarily saying that he did.
Stroke his ego.
Let's look at a non-toxic example. Do you want to see a non-toxic example?
All right.
James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd.
Now, what do you mean non-toxic example?
He has he had the nerd, right? He created this character. He used his filmmaking expertise. He used his video game knowledge expertise, his horror movie knowledge expertise, and he created a YouTube channel called the Cinemassacre. His show, The Angry Video Game Nerd, is him reviewing as this character, the Angry Video Game Nerd. And he was a pioneer on YouTube. He's got a nice wife, got a couple kids. He lives a good life. He's worth he's not a super rich, but he's worth 600,000 around. So he's living a good life. He's respected among his community. He goes to conventions. He gets invited stuff. He has a good wife, kids. And this is a guy that a lot of guys that would be in his position or might have been like a total, what they would call an incel. But he achieved greatness and lived a generally happy life, a happy existence.
So you're saying that this guy in that realm has arete. He would be very attractive
absolutely. To women. It did. Of course, he actually legitimately is a monogamous person by nature. So I think that as a result of that, he had one wife, couple kids, lives a family life while still putting out content, quality content. Podcasts. He has his 200th episode coming up, and I think it might be tomorrow or Wednesday. He's going to do his 200th episode, big episode, like an hour long. He's an institution, and he achieved greatness using his talents and skills to one purpose: Cinemassacre. Made a living off of it.
And you're saying so arete is attracted to women. So basically it's basically dominating your expertise, dominating your field, your community, your area of expertise.
And they'll be attracted to those who appreciate that type of greatness.
Even if they're not physically that attractive. Some pretty good looking women would be attracted to a person like that.
Exactly. Arete. But so he actually legitimately doesn't care.
Right.
Because he is literally wired for monogamy. Jared, maybe
now
not.
Now you say that. Different relationships. What is your relationship philosophy? Are you monogamous, open relationship?
I could do swinger and stag and vixen, but I can't do being a cuck.
Okay, wait. So let's define some of these. So swinger, people know what swingers are. Swingers are people who basically can have sex or make love to multiple people or anybody they want, or whoever your partner approves of. Or there's different rules. And then you were talking about, what's the other one you talk about? Stag what?
Stag and vixen is when you can with both partners watch each other with other people.
Oh, I never heard that one.
And cuck is when it's only one party. And it's normally the guy watching the girl get banged by.
Doesn't a cuck also involve humiliation, or does it not always?
Oftentimes, yes. And I think if it doesn't involve humiliation, that might be called hot wifing. But stag and vixen is like, Game of Thrones, the guy that the Mountain killed in the arena combat.
No, I don't watch that, believe it or not. But
I'm sure some of your viewers would. That guy was like a stag and vixen type deal with his his wife.
And you say you could do that. So how is it that you could share? Swing. How could you share? How do you do that?
I see sex as different than the relationship. Like with a relationship, it's about how that person knows you, how they care about you. And sex is just naughty fun. But I would rather have sex with somebody I care about.
So you don't think that sex is intimacy with somebody?
It can be, but it might not be.
So, or an expression of love.
And an expression of love. It doesn't have to be an expression of love.
Well, right, because we know the word, fucking, right? So
yeah,
we say there's fucking, and then there's making love. Yeah, and there's a difference between two.
Now, a lot of people so stag and vixen tends to appeal oftentimes to more gamma males, which is dominant but socially rejective. They're just as dominant as alphas, except that alphas tend to want to lead other people and be a part of society.
Right. There's alpha male, and then let's define that. There's alpha male, which is the dominant type male.
Gammas are dominant too, but they're rejective of society.
Right.
They're philosophers like David Bowie, Jim Morrison.
Yes, I actually did a test, and I came out as a gamma male. Would that surprise you?
That makes sense. That's what I would say.
Would that surprise you? Oh, I was going to say, would that surprise you?
I was going to say, I think he is a gamma male. Like I say, stag and vixen appeals to gamma males, but it doesn't always appeal to gamma males. And because likely to. You don't.
I wouldn't.
Your philosophy involves monogamy, and that's why.
It does. However, I've been making a shift lately. This is what I struggle with my monogamy idea, is that first of all, I think that my idea of monogamy relationship, basically it's because of my programming. Like I've never really analyzed it and chose my type of relationship. I just went along with it. Of course, I was a born again Christian for a while, all this stuff, and that kind of leads to that philosophy. Never really reviewed it, so I think it was ingrained in me that this is the right moral thing to do, monogamy, and I still desire that. However, I've been in the swinging world as a single guy 12, 13 years ago. I was in the swinging world for a little while. And like I said, as a single guy, but so I didn't have a woman to share or to have to watch and have type of feelings that I'm losing something or that she's sharing something that belongs only to me. So I was a single male, but I did notice
that it's reconquest. So a lot of times with that appeal is reconquest. You might lose something, but then you can get it back again, and then you lose. And a lot of times people would enjoy that.
This is why I like you. You know your shit, and when you study your stuff, you know a lot of stuff. You're a wealth of information. So here's the thing. So I
smoke and I know things.
And but I've looked at the swinger couples that I know. I swear to God, they have the best relationships of any couples that I know.
They represent each other.
They're fun. They're just, there's no, when that jealousy is removed, there's something really free and really amazing about that relationship. And I've always admired the couples that can do this. And it's always my desire to be able to learn to love unconditionally. And so as I looked at the swinging world and realized that some of these guys actually was enjoying that their partner, their girl, was enjoying sex.
Yeah.
So I thought, wait, what an unselfish, unconditional, loving way to look at it. And so ever since then, I have been trying to.
I think if you're a man and you can't be monogamous, you should be a swinger or do a stag and vixen thing. If you're a man and you can't be monogamous, at least that way it's more contained.
Right. And I can be monogamous. The only reason I was swinging at a time where I was single. So, and I was younger, 12 something years ago. So, and I was a bull. I had nothing to, guys would offer me their relationship, their partner. So, of course, being a single guy and I was younger, and that was very appealing to me, but I did learn some things, and I'm still friends with some swinging couples, and yeah, they're just so happy. Their relationships are so, and I really do desire this type of unconditional love where if I had a partner that I could enjoy and be happy for her enjoying whatever she enjoys, which would include sex. But I struggle with it. I struggle with the idea.
I think somebody offered me their wife once, and I was too autistic to figure it out.
Not me, bro. I was the top. There was a
website called was messed up. You would know what was messed up. I was like, oh my God, they were about to pawn their 13, 14-year-old daughter off on me, and I was like,
oh no,
26. Yeah. I was like, no way.
No, they didn't do that, right?
That well, okay. They were like,
you were just thinking that.
No, I think they didn't know how old I was.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm 44, Denver, and when I was 25, I looked like I was 18, 19 years old.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So they probably thought that I was even younger than that, and then she was like 14. She was really charismatic.
Oh yeah,
she was some super charismatic. Like she did not talk like a 14-year-old girl did. Now I wasn't like into her, obviously, because little girl, but like it was like talking to an adult.
Wow,
it was weird.
I'm glad you ran from that one.
Oh yes. And
hey, Jared did call in. Hey, hold on a second. Jared did call in, so I don't know how long he's been here. I didn't hear the beep. So I'm going to pull Jared on here. And let's unmute Jared. Hey, Jared, you there?
I'm here.
How you doing, buddy? Thanks for calling in.
Good, just cooking.
So what are you doing tonight? Now we're talking about relationships and swinging and all that stuff. We're talking about polyamorous and so what kind of relationship are you in or are you looking for?
I think I'm more of the one girl type.
Yeah.
So
monogamous relationship.
That's my thing.
Could you understand the idea that an open relationship or a swing relationship?
I could never do an open relationship, and I'll tell you why.
I mean, isn't that kind of how mammals are wired? The male is supposed to just hit it and quit it and move on. It's, not just preservation of species. Isn't that like how initially we were wired?
But I'm not even talking about hitting it and moving on. I'm talking about being in a relationship, but allowing your partner and yourself, that you guys allow each other the freedom of having experience intimacy with other people. Now, could you see where that would be a very unselfish, unconditional loving way?
With the right people, yes, absolutely. I think some people, they do see things that way. Some people don't like to share.
Exactly. I'm kind of that way too.
So,
I think it's probably for the best that some people don't like to share.
Hey, Jeremy, you must be having trouble with your internet or something. You're frozen and you're all robotic. So maybe refresh your browser, come back in.
From here, I mean,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, you're all robotic, and once you come back in, refresh and come back in. So, Jared, so are you in a relationship right now? You're married, right?
No, I'm still single.
Oh, you're still single?
Well,
okay.
I'm into somebody, so.
Okay, so you're kind of dating somebody right now. So if she told you she was
pretty much now
polyamorous,
go ahead.
Well, somebody that you're interested in now, and let's say things are going well, and you're like and all of a sudden she lays on you, I'm polyamorous, like I'd like to have a relationship with multiple guys or even swing or whatever, and say, would you like to do that? Would you end a relationship, or would you be open to it?
I wouldn't say I'd just end it wholesale, but what I would do is basically ask, more about it, how she came up with that, things like that, share my thoughts, like this is how I am, can you, what do you think of me being, someone who's, monogamous and things like that, and go from there. Now, granted, I had a habit of dating people within the church that I grew up in. So I don't really run into people like that. So
what kind of church? What kind of church are you talking about?
So,
are you talking about Christian church?
Latter-day Saints.
Latter-day Saints? Mormons?
What?
Not the polygamous one. I don't want any part of that.
I was like, what? The Latter-day Saints?
Not them.
You know what's interesting is that Idaho always did well with the COVID
Wait. Did I say that? I'm the one who said Latter-day Saints, right? That's Jehovah Witnesses, right?
Utah. Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witnesses are different.
Very different.
All right.
Wait, they're same
very
in the whole
different, equally weird in the eyes of every other American.
Okay, right.
Different, except that they're weird in the eyes of every other American, and they go door to door. They go in service.
Well, so did
which is
I.
actually a programming trick.
You know?
Right, and don't you say so, Jared? I don't know if you heard that, but I'm also the monogamous type and stuff, and but I have started reviewing that and looking at why, and I started realizing that a lot of it is my programming, my background of Christianity, and all that, and I'm really struggling dismissing the idea of open relationships, especially when it's my goal to get to unconditional love, to be able to love my partner. And that means love whatever my partner loves. And if that means, the other thing I look at, Jared, is the how long are we on earth here? Not very long. We have a short life. The most precious thing we have is our life. And I believe we're here in life to experience things. And who am I? I'm starting to question, who am I to tell another person you can't have these experiences? If you're going to be with me, I'm not going to allow you to have these experiences. So that kind of also opens me up and leads me more towards open relationships or whatever. Jeremy, you said something, you couldn't do open relationships, but you could do swinger. What's the difference?
Well, open means that, with swinger, you're in each other's presence when it happens. So both of you get your cookies at the same time. An open relationship is when they're out and about, they could just bang whoever they choose, like both parties.
Oh, you're okay. I don't see it that way because, like I said, I used to swing like 12 years ago, and there were times where guys would allow me to take their girl out on a date, or their girl would come over my place.
Different. That's a little different.
And I didn't consider an open relationship. When I talk about open relationships, I'm talking about polymorphs, where there's actually a love relationship. Like, this is my girlfriend, and I have her this weekend or this week, and then she goes to her other boyfriend, stuff like that. That's what I consider an open relationship.
I consider like an open relationship. Yeah, they could just go date whoever. But with swingers, it's like you don't share unless it's like in a party or in a group gathering or something like that. Same thing with stag and vixen. You're always in each other's presence. You just have an extra person that's always there for a little bit extra fun.
Well, do you guys, and Jared, do you guys agree that it would take quite a bit of a love to allow your partner the freedom to have sex with someone else and enjoy it, and you enjoy that they're enjoying themselves? Wouldn't you think that it would take an extraordinary amount of unselfishness and love?
I think more than anything, it takes more of an open mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like and that's just, again, this is just my opinion. Mm-hmm. An open mind, because keep in mind that, Christianity isn't the only religion in the world.
Right.
It's not the only one that
different backgrounds, people from different countries.
But is there
right. And
is there a religion that's polyamorous?
Polyamorous.
Or polyamorous? Yeah.
There's sects of religions that are.
I mean, the Mormons did it for a bit.
Oh, that's right.
And there's enclaves and neo-pagan groups that are into polyamorism, but not as a rule.
I knew he'd know.
Like neo-paganism will have enclaves, small enclaves where there'll be polyamorous groups. But I mean, that's not, you can't paint them with a brush, but you're more likely to find them there than almost any kind of religious group.
Right. And, it is interesting to me that when we do have to fight monogamy, like there's, no matter who you are, there's a time in your life where you run into somebody and you fantasize, you think about it, and you have to resist yourself. And it's interesting to me that we chose to resist ourselves because we believe that that God gave this rule that we need to, or we're sinning, we're doing something wrong that we could actually be we actually burn in hell for without forgiveness. That's interesting to me that we don't know for sure, though. Like, no religion can you verify for sure. It's just, every religion takes faith. So we are really restricting ourselves over something that we're not even sure. Like, I would like to ask born again Christians, if they found out that the Bible's not true, that the God of the Bible and that story of Jesus Christ and sin and hell and all that is not true. If they knew for sure, they found out for sure it's not true, how would they live their lives then? Would they then be not monogamous? Would they then would they still judge so many things? Where are there things where they say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do this now, that they've restricted themselves for because of their belief into Christianity?
That shows that they didn't understand why an edict was there, but they just followed it.
Well, and isn't that the way most people are?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I discovered about myself. I started questioning things, and I started realizing that I was living my life and following morality and ethics that I didn't even know why. And when I started questioning some of the stuff, it didn't make sense to me anymore. And so now I've got brave enough to step out and live my life the way, and I've never been happier. People can say, well, you're going to burn in hell now. Well, I'm not happier. I've never been happier.
Yeah. Oh, but what's interesting is the Jehovah Witnesses debate the existence of hell. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
They don't really believe in the place where you burn forever.
I don't either.
Yeah, neither do I.
We're on the same page for that.
But yeah, they believe that if you die and you don't get resurrected, you just die.
Well, yeah, and that's possible. I look at that possibility. When we die, nothingness. That's it. We're gone.
I think there's one thing that happens, though, and that is we have a DMT trip. And because we lose our sense of time, that DMT trip can stretch out for like 10 years. And I think that happens. And then
talk about that segues into psychedelics.
Right.
Jeremy, have you experienced mushrooms or DMT or anything?
Mushrooms, yes. Twice. What
about you, Jared? Have you experienced any psychedelics? Or will you get in trouble if you admit it?
No, the closest thing I've had to a psychedelic was a painkiller. That's
really?
Those
now,
two.
How
not done anything now.
How come you just wouldn't? You never been interested, or what?
I never got interested in it.
I was flying.
Just never took into it. It wasn't just because Jesus told me not to. I just, I saw what it did to some of my friends and how they,
Shrooms?
I was just more. Well, I'll tell you this much. You ever see South Park?
Yes, we watched South Park.
You ever watch South Park? Butters, very, very gullible, afraid of his own shadow.
Which one?
I wasn't gullible.
Okay.
Butters,
afraid of his own shadow. Butters, yes,
the blonde one.
Yeah.
I'm not as gullible. I wasn't as gullible as he was, nor as afraid of as he was. But I did, if it was too much of a hassle, I didn't want to bother with it. I didn't. For example, I didn't choose not to drink because, the church said no, or not to smoke. I did it because my grandmother on my dad's side was literally gasping for her last breath because she could literally not quit.
Oh, I see.
Like she'd take a hit off the oxygen tank, move that mask over so it wouldn't explode, take a hit off a cigarette, and just keep going back and forth. Like she just could not do it.
Cigarettes are like the most pointless addiction.
I just couldn't deal with it.
I feel sorry. It's unfortunate when people because it was like the most. You don't get much out of cigarettes, Right.
It's just an addiction that harms you.
It's an addiction that harms you, and you get almost nothing from it.
Right.
You get relaxed. It's relaxing for the first couple of months.
Right.
And when I did mushrooms, I could tell you one thing that I saw. I was flying in space underneath a very long tongue, being on the side of me, there was a star following me, like a shooting star, and I flew into the Joker's mouth.
Now, do you think, okay, this is something interesting. Do you think the psychedelics just fuck your brain up and you think crazy stuff? Or do you think it unlocks another world?
I tell you, I don't think it unlocks another world, but I think it does. I don't know about unlocking the other world. Maybe before the age of smartphones, maybe some shamans could do that, but I think now it just unlocks the mind.
I think psychedelics, this is what I believe. I believe that we are, there's only one thing in existence, and that's the creator. Like you're an illusion. I'm an illusion. We're all just an illusion. This is all just a game. It's not real.
Simulation theory.
Simulation theory, right?
I'm totally down with simulation theory.
And so if we, I believe, so the creator is the only thing in existence, and it created this world and these different personalities to interact so it can know itself experientially. It does know itself because it knows itself. Every thought it has is true. There's nothing to deny it or to argue against it. But in this world, this thing can believe, can have two polarities, to a dichotomy going against each other and experience it, because there's a difference between experiencing something and knowing something. Like if I tell you how to get to my place and you know the area, you could say, yeah, okay, I know how to get to your place. But if you drive it 100 times, you've experienced it. That's totally different knowledge. So I think this world is the creator experiencing, getting to know itself experientially. So in order for this experiment to work, we have to understand that we have to not know that this is not real. We have to believe it's real. So I believe we're blocked from knowing that there is only one thing in existence and we're not real and this isn't real, because as soon as we know this, game over. So what I think DMT and the psychedelics do, I think it might give us a little key, a little secret into what the real world is.
You know, there is a video game franchise that's really popular right now that the deep secret in it is exactly what is kind of what you said. It's like the deep secret, and that is that the world that you play in is somebody's dream. And if that person wakes up, existence ends.
Exactly.
So
that all this could disappear at any moment.
And if you realize you're in a dream, one of two things happen. You either cease to exist or you become a god.
Exactly. I think we get reabsorbed into the one thing in existence, which is God. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in this conversation, chime in. 855-854-TALK is the phone number.
Amazing you did that, because it's like a lot of people that are into this game don't know that. They don't know that's
right. And that's the thing. We can't know for sure because the game is over if we do. So I think we're blocked. Okay, you know the double slit experiment? This kind of plays into it too. Have you heard of the double slit experiment?
Are you talking about the ones where the electrons behave differently when you look at
them?
Yes,
when you observe them. Yes. Jared, you know what the double slit experiment is?
That was left field, but okay.
I do not.
Okay, no, it's not left field. Here's why.
I don't remember it being referred to as the double slit experiment.
Double slit.
The double slit experiment.
Yeah, where they shoot.
What you were talking about.
Where they shoot electrons, and electrons turn into a wave function after they pass through. Even when they're shot in one at a time, which is impossible for them to interfere each other and become a wave function, they become this wave function. Look it up if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the double slit experiment. Actually, we'll go over this. I'll pull it up. But here's what I believe. So when they tried to figure out why these things are not acting like particles, they're acting like waves, it went back to acting like particles. It wouldn't do it as long as they were trying to see what it was doing. So this is how it ties in what we're talking about. I think that there's a secret to the universe there. And I think that basically the creator or God says, no, I can't let you see this. I can't let you see what's going on, because it might reveal the secret to life and what life is. So I'm gonna pull that up. Double slit experiment. It's real short video, and there's this cartoon that explains it really clear.
In Buddhism, you have people who gain enlightenment, and then you have people, and then they die. They gain enlightenment. They're part of nirvana, and then you have people who are bodhisattvas, who achieve enlightenment, but they die and they come back to Earth in order to provide enlightenment for others.
Yes, that's another philosophy.
And there's supposed to be somebody like Kuan Yin, whoever the goddess Kuan Yin was based off of, keeps coming back. It's supposed to keep coming back to Earth. Like there's supposed to be somebody, Kuan Yin is supposed to be existing somewhere.
But do you realize that we can't ever, the one thing all religion has in common is that one, we can't prove it. Not one of us can prove our religion. And two, it takes faith to make it work. What do you think, Jared? What's your faith? What's your belief?
I would like to say I'm more of a spiritual philosopher than say it's religion.
What do you think, Jared?
and sorry, listening to everything here, I'll go back to the psychedelics a bit later. But one thing that you really triggered my mind was, basically some of the teachings that the Mormons talk about. Now, I'm not going to try and preach or nothing, but this is just what they believe.
Right.
Which is that that there's basically a limit that God has placed on us. Call it a veil or whatever you want to call it, a shroud that keeps us from, seeing Him. Those, who used to, live on earth or whatever, like our parents, grandparents, whatever. And, basically, it's basically said that the spirits they consist of a pure matter that has to be seen by pure. That makes sense.
Okay, so
and
you're saying you got to be
brains
pure
are also
to
very
see
limited
it.
as well.
Okay, you're saying the requirements is to be pure.
Just you have to, in other words, well, not just pure, but you don't see it unless God allows you to see it.
Okay.
Basically, that's what is taught, and that's
right.
the layman's most basic term or explanation. It gets a little deeper than that, obviously.
Right.
Your consciousness has to be in a specific type of waveform in order to perceive something.
Yeah, think of it like that. Think of, for example, our eyes only see, we don't see very far beyond black lights or
right. There's light spectrum around that we can't see. Yeah.
So if your psychological state is in a specific wavelength,
on the other end as well,
patterns.
Right. And what I understand about psychedelics, right? Well, also, and it's also known in science that our brains are very limited as to what they can do. We don't actually use our entire brain.
Correct.
We have the conscious and the subconscious.
And why not?
And they're usually separate.
I agree 100%.
I believe.
There is definitely
this is just me.
Contention on that.
Well, hang on. So the thing is that I believe that one of the things that psychedelics do is that they unlock that unconscious. Because, they talk about, premonitions that we have, things also, and I learned this in psychology, this is science. The subconscious mind picks up on things that we don't pick up on consciously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it reads everything.
Listening, and if someone is talking about you behind your back in the same room and you don't hear it, your subconscious mind supposedly picks it up. And it might manifest in a dream or whatever. So some drugs do, I believe, activate the subconscious and just also unlock parts of the brain, and maybe in ways too much that we can't really handle or control, which is why sometimes we may see some crazy shit. I remember my first, and I remember my first experience with sleep paralysis. And sleep paralysis is nothing more than the body waking you up. Right. Well, it's basically what happens is your body wakes up before the whatever paralyzing agent it releases in your body, so you don't act out your dreams. You're not running in your sleep or hitting, your wife that you're sleeping next to. Your body gets paralyzed before you go into deep sleep, before you start dreaming. Well, sometimes you wake up before the paralysis wears off, and your mind goes crazy. So my first experience was that my first experience. I was in my room. There were candles lit everywhere. I had no candles. There were dark shadows around me. It was very demonic. Very, very demonic. And once I realized what it was, I read about it. Once I realized what it was, I was like, oh, I just need to move my hand. So I would make every effort just to move my pinky finger or something on my left hand or right hand or whatever, and try to wake up. And it always worked. I don't get any more demonic anything whatsoever. I either try to go back to sleep or I try to move my hand and just wake up and realize, oh, it's just, I'm going through sleep paralysis. So the mind is very, very powerful. And I believe the subconscious is a very, very powerful part of our mind. And again, those limitations that we have, whether it's evolutionary or placed by God or by the universe or whatever, whatever it may be, based on what I've learned so far through psychology, through my church, and through whatever other, conversations with people, that's basically what I've to mind. So I could be completely wrong, but to me, it makes perfect sense. And so I pass that along as theory, not fact, a lot of it. But the subconscious part, that's obviously fact. That's scientifically proven based on current studies, which may change as we learn more, right? I mean, we're always learning. Science isn't 100% settled. So that's my take on it.
Well, look, go ahead, Jeremy.
I had an interesting one. Sleep paralysis. I used to get it a lot after drinking the communion wine. I'd go home and I would take a nap after church and get sleep paralysis. But the most memorable time of sleep paralysis was, I believe, in 1998, where I was sleeping in the room at my family's house, and I couldn't move. And I actually had an auditory hallucination. And it was the most sexiest female voice I can remember hearing for years. And she was telling me to sell my soul in order to have seductive power.
Did you?
No. Although, given being on the autism spectrum and having my dating history that I've had, I don't know. Maybe I did.
Maybe you did. Because I don't know. You're pretty seductive. So
I've been for a guy on the autism spectrum, I've gotten a lot of action, like a ridiculous amount of action for a dude.
You know, I felt that way about myself. Like, I consider myself an average dude, like a 5 on looks. And yeah, I've had my share of interactions. Hey, let me go this double slit experiment real quick.
Especially a poor autistic dude. I mean, come on.
This is only 5 minutes, but this is explained really well. And this is what I'm talking about. I think, what if we can't see, this hasn't been figured out. I think this originally started in the 1920s or something like that. They haven't figured it out yet, why it does this. And again, what if it is the creator? What if we're onto something about the secret of life and the creator blocks the information? So here's the double slit experiment. If Jared, if you got your phone, you probably watch it on there. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I won't be able to watch it because I'm on the call.
You know, I can't hear audio here either.
You can't hear my audio?
No. Hang on, I'm gonna mute my mic.
You don't hear that video?
No, I don't hear it.
All right, hold on a second. I wonder if is it coming over the...
No, I don't hear it.
Oh, it's not coming over YouTube either. Heck.
All right, hold on a second.
Wait.
I wonder if is it coming over the... No, I don't hear it.
Oh, shoot.
It's not coming over YouTube either. Heck.
What the heck happened here? Let me see.
Wait, is it coming over the...
No, it's not. It's not coming over YouTube either. All right. So basically, let me get to the crux of it. So I'll just show the video. So let me mute it since it's not. So what they're doing is they're shooting particles through here, and it creates a line through a slit. And you expect that on the back wall, just one line. And then they put 2 lines and they shoot these particles through, and 2 lines appear. That makes sense too. But then these are particles. So then they use water, and it's a wave going through one slit, and then it branches out and creates a solid pattern in the center, and it fades to the right and left. So then when you do a double slit with the waves, what it does, it causes an interference pattern. So what you get is you get in the center, you get a solid hit on the back wall, then nothing, then a lighter hit, then nothing, then a lighter hit. So it creates this rainbow pattern. So what they did was they started, so everything's fine so far, and then they started shooting these electrons through one at a time. So they get that. And then when they added, this is when they added 2 slits on these electrons, and it created a wave pattern. Instead of 2 slits on the back wall, it created a wave pattern. So somehow these electrons were bouncing off each other like the waves do, and create this same pattern that a wave does in the back. So they wanted to know how that was working. So what they did was they shot 1 electron at a time through and let it choose which slit is going through. And the pattern still appeared as if there were multiple ones interfering with each other. So they decided to see what was happening. And when they tried to observe what was happening, how it was doing that, it went back to doing what was expected, just 2 lines on the back wall. And so the act of observing this actually changed what the electrons did. And they still haven't figured out why it does this. It collapses. It turns into a wave function unless it's being observed. And then it stays as particles going through slits. So why? Why would it do that? And I think I tie this into my idea of spirituality, that, we're on to something here. Like, there may be the secret of life there. And God is saying, no, We can't let you see this because you will understand the secret to life and the game will be over. There's no use for this experiment to continue. So that's my philosophy. And I can't prove it any more than anybody can prove their religions.
Well, you know, in Buddhism, Mara, which was like a Buddhist devil, had a purpose. It was to prevent people from achieving enlightenment, but that was a purpose because preventing people from achieving enlightenment is what keeps life going.
Right.
Which is why you have to work to earn it, which is why you have to battle against Mara to achieve enlightenment. Mara's purpose is to prevent that so that life can continue to go on.
Exactly. There's a purpose for not knowing, just like there's a purpose for evil. Why does God allow bad things to happen? Or the
population control.
Well, because without the bad things, you can't have the good things.
And life, and honestly, life would get pretty boring.
Exactly.
Without drama, come on.
People think you tell me without people being murdered and tortured, that life would get boring. Yes, it would.
It would. We need danger every once in a while.
You can't have heroes without danger. You can't have heroes. You can't enjoy the warmth of a blanket without the cold air outside that you don't want to experience.
That's why if there ever was a heaven, they would definitely have to have a gaming station.
Right.
like a really nice VR thing where you could like shoot down or do something. I don't know, more whatever they have.
What do you guys think of the metaverse that's coming up? What do you think of Zuckerberg's metaverse?
Why? What is he proving with this? I don't.
I'm kind of excited about it. It's an escape from reality.
Yeah, I mean, I do that.
Don't you think so?
Often. Yeah, but I don't know if I want to escape into that reality.
What do you think, Jared?
Have you seen Ready Player One?
Ready Player One. I heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Basically, it's their own metaverse that they have, and these people that live in basically poverty, and this virtual reality basically keeps them distracted from the bum deal they got from their government.
Oh man, we're on another topic. Okay. Is that good or bad for society?
No, I'm just saying that's what the movie was.
No,
and of course there's a plot in there, elsewhere. Right. So,
but if that's true,
yeah, I mean,
is that good or bad? Let's say there's a loser who he can't make in life. Like he can't get anything going financially. He doesn't have a girl. He doesn't have a life. He gets into this game, this reality, disappears into this virtual reality. And in there, he's a king. He has the women servants serving him anything he wants.
Feel it.
And all this stuff. Now, we're getting to where we can feel it. We're getting
now, once that happens, then it's just another
world. Okay, let's say we can feel it. Let's say that we've got the suits now and everything seems realistic and it's hard to distinguish from reality. Is it? And now let's say this guy spends his whole life in the metaverse. Is he wasting his life? Is that a sad thing or is that a good thing? What do you guys think?
I would say it's a thing.
I think everything in moderation.
I would think that's a thing. Like, I could see that somebody being happy might actually be happy like that. I think the question is, would somebody be as happy in the real world? And I think that might end up having to do with how far the technology progresses. Because if it progresses to the point where it's indistinguishable, then we have basically we have become a god. Like whoever makes that world are now deities.
Exactly.
They like the sound engineer is the god of thunder. Okay.
Yep.
There would be admins that would be literally a god of something like polite discourse.
Well, I think there'll be people judging and saying, what a waste of life. This guy, all he does is spend his life in the virtual world. But
you have said
to me, if he's happy and what's the difference? Arguably, this is a virtual world. So it's just a virtual world, spending time in a virtual world. So I don't know. I think it's a good thing.
I mean, Minecraft is getting to be more like a real world as time goes on, just a blocky one.
So do you do, Jared, do you do games?
I do games.
What games do you play? Do you do
mostly the stuff that everybody plays, like Call of Duty, Destiny 2, Battlefield, just,
Halo?
The mindless games where you just go and shoot everybody.
Do you do
I used to play Halo.
VR, or is it just off your screen?
A little bit, not very much of it. There's a couple of very fun games on the VR platform that are a lot of fun. There's one game called Space Pirate Trainer on Oculus, and it is worth every penny.
I like crafting, anything that deals with crafting, which is why I really started to love the or like survival or open world, like especially like the Skyrim Anniversary Edition came out. I've been playing Skyrim for 10 years.
I don't play games. I feel like I'm wasting my life.
I grew up with them.
I agree. If you don't.
I don't see it as any different than watching a movie if you do it
exactly.
For like
exactly. That's what I was going to say. But I'll watch a movie, so I guess you could argue I'm wasting my life when I'm watching my movie.
I think that it's just that if you watch movies every day, all day, that would be just as bad. I would say even worse, because no matter what kind of movie you're watching, there's a video game that will build your brain more. There's a video game that will build your brain more than any book that you could read. I mean, it might not be all of them. It might be only a few of them, but there's a game out there that will build your mental capabilities more than any book would. It's not normally the more popular ones. Like Minecraft can teach you programming.
What do you think, Jared?
I think that it's important that, and again, this is my take. I think it's important that we find things that we can learn and build upon. Like, for example, just about anything that can be taken apart, that can be modified. If I can get my hands on it, I'll figure it out, I'll learn it, and I'll have fun with it. So I got into airsoft in 2008 when I was in college, and I spend more time fixing airsoft guns and upgrading them than actually be playing. And I find more fulfillment in that than actually playing on the field. Playing on the field is actually fun.
Right.
But going trying out real tactics, of course, with ballistics that aren't close to the real thing. But
repairing gives you satisfaction.
Modifying.
What was that, Jeremy?
The repairing
satisfaction
gives you satisfaction.
Of learning how something works. Yes. The problem solving, trying to figure out what's wrong with it. It can be very frustrating, but at the same time, it's very fulfilling.
And that's interesting because by repairing it, you're important to their community.
Exactly. We have, I think, within
last night,
most of us at least, we are wired to fulfill something. And so a guy, for example, who goes into this virtual reality and spends his life there because his life is complete crap. Yes, that can be a good way to distract yourself from it. And you can actually use that VR world that you live in to motivate yourself to say, hey, look, if I can do this here, maybe I can make my life a little better out there. And by working with each other and everything else, and doing our part in whatever way does add fulfillment to our lives. And a lot of people, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say,
no, you're good. Go ahead.
Like back in the 90s, one of the ways I learned social skills, how to socially interact with people, was Vampire the Masquerade, LARPing, where I would pretend to be a different person and interact with people.
Oh, so that helped you socially.
It helped me socially because I could just, however I act, I could say, well, that's my character. But I could do that while trying to be charming still. It's just when I fail, oh, it's my character. And so I learned how to interact with people and it'd be more enjoyable to be around, I guess.
Right. Well, you look at martial arts, for example, right? Like, you've done this. You know what the results, the consequences of martial arts, the good consequences at least. Like, for example, people, they can become more confident. They might even become more organized. They may be at more peace with themselves. They seem to be much, they can collect themselves better than having not learned it prior.
Danger.
Now, if you have someone, who's, so, but as opposed to someone who does nothing but martial arts, and nothing else, and they don't socialize with people, and they're kind of like that Cobra Kai, master. They don't turn out right. But again, if you, in moderation, when you learn things, and again, martial arts is one of them. It gives you a sense of purpose. Now, not every martial arts student ever, spends the rest of their life using the fighting techniques that they learned. Very rarely. But the other things that they pick up from it, that's priceless.
You know what
worth more than the money they pay you to learn.
You know the thing that I learned in a karate school that saved me more than anything else? The break fall roll.
Oh yeah, you could fall from pretty big heights if you do that right.
Break fall roll saved me more than anything else I learned in a karate school, and the hip throw ranks second because I used that successfully in a fight. Hip throw.
I remember when I was doing jiu-jitsu, I'd practice those, and I'd take off running and jump in the air as high as I could and dive. And we're talking on hard floors. I would dive.
I can do them on
tuck and roll. Tuck and roll. Yeah, you can do it.
I can do them on concrete.
I always thought that if you get in a car accident, get thrown from the car or whatever, if you can have the presence of mind to do that, or fall from a couple
front
floors.
Break falls, back break falls, side break falls, as well as the front break falls and the front rolling break falls. You learn.
See, folks, the Denver show, you learn all kinds of things here. We've covered so much stuff, segued into so much stuff. Call in 855-854 talking and tell us what you're doing and put your 2 cents in. But anyways, I don't want to break. Jared, have you done martial arts?
I have not. My dad tried getting me into it. I could not get into it. I wished I had learned, but I just never got into it. I mean, I got in the marching band, and I got my I found my purpose in that in my own way. And I obviously could have accomplished something in athletics or martial arts as well. But the thing is that if you put yourself in something, especially if it's something that involves other people or ways that you can enhance your community or the people around you in a little bit better way, that gives you structure, and structure is beneficial to a healthy mindset. And right now, what we have, one of the problems we have in this country are people with unhealthy minds. Like they literally cannot deal with what's going on because they have no sense of purpose.
And you know what?
Friends, they say, what?
We were talking about that yesterday because that ties into Erte. We have so many distractions with video games that nobody really achieves any kind of greatness or excellence of being. So you have these guys that are perpetually single, because they don't have your Erte is your personality given power, and they don't know how to use their passions. And before the information age, before the internet age, men would eventually do that and would achieve some kind of greatness incidentally. They normally didn't have to be told to. They'll do it because they're bored. They'll go from putting together model cars when they're a child to fixing cars when they're an adult.
Right.
But back, even in your time, Denver, you basically had to achieve some kind of greatness.
In my time.
It was my generation that started to mess up.
Yeah, well, I don't know what we did to screw it up, but we did. We did something to screw it up.
The Nintendo Entertainment System.
I think it's more just empowered it, you know what I mean?
I think that. Do you think gaming caused it? Because gaming made it
social media.
Parents got lazy.
Immediate access to information, not just games, but Netflix too.
Right.
You have Netflix, all HBO Max. They've all had some kind of part in this because it's instant gratification, and now we literally have less attention span than a goldfish.
Well, has social media benefited or hurt society more? Which is given us more?
I think it might have saved some lives, though.
Social media.
It might have cost some lives. I think it's just a thing. But I think our honeymoon with it is about over.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
it's time for something else. Virtual reality, the metaverse.
Maybe, yeah. And then all the old school people will be on Facebook. Look at that dinosaur on Facebook.
Exactly. Well, it's already that way. Young people already said Facebook is for old people. What'd you say, Jared?
Do you remember the Boys Life magazine?
Yes, I used to get that. I love that magazine.
I used to get that too. I was very disappointed on how to build a robot thing article.
Well, I grew up at the sunset of that publication. I grew up in the gaming generation. But the thing is, boys before my time mostly got into bushcraft and other things that were fulfilling. So, they spent time outdoors and do things like that. And, but people born after me and people my age group, a lot of us got into video games and found no purpose. And now these people in my age group have grown up and they've accomplished very little. And one of the reasons why we see all this violence and all this activism and everything, I believe, is because they know, like I believe it's a result of their subconscious or what, maybe even their conscience, whatever you want to call it, that they remind us like, hey, you haven't amounted to shit, and you need to find purpose in this society. And make something out of your life. There you go. Exactly. How many toxic people are there out there that actually have? I mean, aside from the arrogant ones, but how many people who have gotten, found their Erte or found their purpose in life, or who actually do things with their free time, things that are productive. Right. How many of them are actually like that? How many of them actually go out into the streets burning shit down?
Yep.
I struggle. I ask that to people who call themselves incels. They're like, oh, I'm an incel. I can't get a girlfriend. It's so sad. I was like, what could you do well? I'll tell you the movie that changed my life and I got me on the Erte thing was The Tao of Steve. The Tao of Steve. Before I watched that movie, I was black pill.
What did it do? What did it do for you?
Pill. I realized the secret. That's where I put the Erte thing together. Now, it wasn't completely what they said in the Tao of Steve, but it was the heart of it all that was saying. He said, be excellent was one of them. And that's actually was, when I look at it, that's really all that it was. And he's like, be excellent, be desireless, be excellent, and be gone was his death. But I think the be excellent is actually the central cog in that, and everything else was just player stuff. But the Tao of Steve broke me out of a black pill phase where I was starting to become super misogynistic and resentful towards women.
Oh, well, I'm looking up the trailer for that right now. Tao of Steve. And I think I got the audio fixed on that, so we'll find out. Tao of Steve trailer. Was this in a theater or?
I just saw it once. It's the second most important movie of my life, and I've only seen it once.
Really? Mine is a series called Conversations with God. How about you, Jared? What's some life-changing thing for you?
We're talking about like a movie.
Yeah, like a movie or a book or something.
As far as books go, I would have other options.
Oh, okay.
Cheesy as it sounds. Actually, a couple of movies have helped me kind of see things. It's a Wonderful Life. A classic, obviously.
Absolutely.
It's taught me some valuable lessons. Click was very similar. It's Adam Sandler, of course. They basically took a dump on the classic movie, but it was still meaningful. But
Click, yeah, with the remote.
You have to learn to appreciate what you have in front of you, because not everyone gets dealt the same hand, and life is just not meant to be fair. It's not. Some people are horrible people. They're very arrogant. They're misogynistic. They're not deserving of whatever they have, but they have it.
You know what comforts me in that?
It is what it is. Cheaters,
What comforts you?
What comforts me when confront with the unfairity, unfairness, and cruelty of life, the inequity and cruelty of life, is that the hottest fire forges the strongest steel.
The hottest fire forges the strongest steel. Yeah. What comforts me is the idea that it's all good. I truly believe that. Even no matter what I'm suffering, no matter how difficult it is, I will still stick with that it's all good. And that's what comforts me.
Right. And you focus on what you have. You can either focus your energy on hating yourself and hating others, which is what a lot of people are doing. People protest, these injustices against people, but for example, when Hurricane Matthew or Mike, whichever it was, that decimated the Florida Panhandle back in 2018, You know, some people protested saying that the government didn't care for the black people enough. But a lot of us, especially the Mormon helping hands, we were out there in the thousands.
Yeah, so were Christians.
Clearing fallen trees, you know, using chainsaws to section them off so we could haul the pieces away.
I wanted to do some hurricane heroics, but the hurricane avoided me, like they always do.
Hey, I got the Dow Steve here. I'm gonna play this trailer. Let's see if let me know if you get the audio when I play this. Let's see what this is about.
Donald Logue's in this. He actually.
Can you hear that, Jeremy?
No.
Wait. Oh shoot. Hold on. Can you hear that, Jeremy?
No.
Oh, the audio's not coming over on that one either.
I can hear it.
Oh, you can hear it, Jeremy?
I can definitely hear it.
Well,
okay, so I guess
Jared can hear it.
Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me check the stream. Hold on. Let me check. Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me check the stream. Yeah, let's see the stream. Hold on. Check. Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me check the stream. No, now I got the feedback loop going. I don't know. Now it's not playing, so I'll have to figure that out. I'll have to test that next time. But anyways, I'm gonna check that out. Wait, that's not the thing where the guy wears the glasses? No?
I think so.
Okay. Have you seen that? There's a thing where a guy he wears glasses and that's
this is supposed to be based on a real person.
All right.
Like that lived and was a bit of a Lothario, despite the fact that he looked like that. He was a bit of a Lothario. And it was because he understood achieve greatness, understand what you're good at, and work to achieve greatness on that. With him, he was good at guitar and entertaining children. So he would play guitar for children, and that's how he would attract women.
Well, and they say, you know, in order to never work again a day in your life, make sure learn to get paid for what you love to do. So
he was a kindergarten teacher. And he used it.
That would be fun. I would like that. I love little kids.
Yeah. But it helped me overcome my resentment. And, you know, I started actually dating shortly after I watched that movie again.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, because that's part of the thing too. What I'm missing. I mean, I started singing. A lot of people wanted me to do that, and I started singing, and that started going real well.
You started interacting with more people when you did that, huh?
Yeah. And this right here, this broadcasting, this show, this is something that I know I should be doing, and I don't know why I've struggled to do it. But especially when I started getting guests on, when I started attracting local guests, whether it be musicians, producers, just local, maybe people own local shops, things like that. This thing starts taking off, and I think Jared, you started watching from the beginning, right? When we were in Columbus, Ohio. I miss
a little bit. Yeah. I caught a few of them whenever I wasn't, busy working. I caught a few of them.
Yeah. I mean, some of the best ones we had was when I interviewed, I-71 movie producers and, Todd, I can't think of his name now. Todd, he's going to kill me. But anyways, he's a special effects artist for movies. Those were two of the best shows we did. And, it started taking off. We started getting a following. And when we stopped, I got a lot of messages of people like, when are you going to start doing this again? So this maybe is my Arete, part of my Arete.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. You need a little more consistency to build a base.
Exactly. I don't know why I moved from Columbus. Jay was on here regularly, Jay and Scott, and those guys were great co-hosts, and they were there regularly. And also I lost the physical studio. I'm not really crazy about the virtual thing. Like you're there, Jeremy, I'm here, but we were actually in the same room at a table, could look at each other. I would
love that.
Oh, dude, it's way better. It's way better. And that's another reason why I want to try to find sponsors for the show, because I would like to find a place to rent a studio and basically set up and all this stuff was set up. We just walked in, sat down, and just got the show ready. And it was very professional. I had this big 50-inch TV on all 60-inch TVs that When anytime we played videos, the people in the studio would be watching what's going over the air. So it was just very professional. And honestly, I'm kind of a professionalist sometimes when it comes to perfectionist. And when I got away and had to do this virtual stuff, I don't like it as much. It's just, this is a challenge for me. I want somebody to be in the room with me. I want the guests to be here and all this stuff. But right now, this is what we got. And so I'll keep working it. But you're right. This is my Arte. This is something I got to keep going and keep building up. And if I'd continued with it, who knows where I'd be right now.
This is perfect for a Gamma, because what Gammas want to do is share their ideas while having a dominant
and I did test as a Gamma male. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So,
but by the way, the other dominant version is a Sigma, and that's like John Rambo.
Right.
Would be like a Sigma, or Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Any kind of dominant but lone figure is more of a Sigma personality type.
Well, so I also did that Briggs thing. I couldn't find the results. We were talking about the other night, that Briggs test.
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah. I wanted to say Briggs,
I'm an
Briggs and
INFJ.
Stratton, but that's a lawnmower. I had to go Briggs and Stratton test.
I'm an INFJ, and that makes it. And one of the things that they can do normally is they tend to have a better idea of judging somebody's personality types a lot more, like being able to figure them out. But I can normally determine if somebody is introvert or extrovert, intuitive, sensing. After I spend some time with them, you're obviously extroverted.
Me?
I think you are.
I think I'm an ambivert because I spend 90% of my time alone, doing things alone. And now it's because I have a partner, but also I enjoy my alone time. And
does it give you a charge, or do you need a break from being alone?
Well, when holidays come around, the parties are going, and I haven't built a posse and nobody thinks to invite me because I'm not really part of a group. Intuitive. Then I miss it.
You're definitely an intuitive, because you see things broadly instead of like focused sensory things. You see things broadly. You see a broad picture. They're able to do things like run a talk show, but not so much as they might have struggles with things like fixing a car or like electricity. They can still learn it, but it's a little more of a struggle. Or sports might be a little bit more of a struggle, but philosophy, cakewalk.
How about you, Jared? Have you taken a Myers-Briggs test?
I took the DISC test, which is the predecessor to it, if I'm not mistaken.
And what kind of personality have you come up with? Did you agree with the results too?
It's well, I have them somewhere, but basically a CS.
And what is that?
It's basically DISC, dominant.
INFP.
I can't remember.
Okay, I'll give you some
DISC. Yeah, this personality.
Okay. The INFJ personality type is like the advisor, and they're like Merlin, the magician. They normally fill that role within a particular group. Normally the person that the alpha and the tribe goes to for advice.
What do you think of that, Jared?
But not the guy that runs things. The only thing I can run is a GURPS game.
That sounds like me.
The only thing I can run is a GURPS game.
GURP. I don't know what it is, but it does sound like something you could run.
Generic universal role-playing system. It's the only tabletop system I use. And tabletop role-playing to me is a mental exercise. And to me, it's one of the ultimate mental exercise.
Isn't that what Dungeons and Dragons is?
Yes. You have to remember figures. You have to do math in your head.
Remember when people were killing themselves over that game?
Satanic Panic?
No, Dungeons and Dragons.
I know. It's called a Satanic Panic in the 80s. They were attributing all sorts of things to Dungeons and Dragons.
What's that all
Do you have
about?
any documented case? It was probably somebody with severe mental illnesses. The DM didn't screen them properly. Their character died. They couldn't handle it anymore.
Right. That's what they said when their characters died off of it.
Yeah, they just went nuts because in GURPS and Dungeons and Dragons, it's permadeath. It's not like a game where you reset. You can't play that character again. If you do, you start at level 1.
Oh, so they don't want to do that. I would kill myself too. That's worth it. All right, so we've been going on an hour 45 minutes. I think we covered a lot of stuff here. And Jared, hey, thanks a lot for calling in, man. It really makes the show when we have a caller. I mean, it just blows me away. I don't know why.
Appreciate you, Jared.
Yes, this goes to the next level. No matter who it is, I don't care what they have to offer or say.
Too loud.
It goes to the next level. What's that?
I think I might be talking too loud.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. It's people sleeping. It's okay.
Oh, people sleeping. All right. Hey, Jared, but thank you so much for calling in, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
I know we haven't set any schedules yet, but I want to do more of these. And now tomorrow night I have a show here in Fort Myers. I'm singing. So you're not available till Monday?
No, I'm available Mondays.
Okay. Mondays. So what about Thursdays?
No.
Okay.
But all right. So a special event on a Thursday, let me know.
All right. Well, we'll look into then we'll probably figure maybe Sunday or Monday doing
Monday. I have stellar attendance at my job now, so I can.
And see, that's another thing I got to get going. We got to get a set where we can advertise day and time and a set time for people to get used to. So that's how we're going to build followers. So, but again, thanks a lot, Jared, for calling in. Appreciate it, man. All right, make it a great day.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. All right, so that's awesome, man. Love when people calling Jared, really adding to the mix. And for you, those you watching, thanks a lot for watching, and like and share. We got some likes this time and stuff. We're up. I think when we were doing it earlier, we used to have about 19-20 people watching at the same time. Today we're up to 8 or 9. We had 8 or 9 people consistently today, so watching. So that was pretty cool. So we're getting there.
Mm-hmm. We are.
Well, thanks a lot, Jeremy. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you actually bugging me do this. So, the Iron Fox. So this is your
That's
name.
My YouTube.
Your YouTube channel. You're gonna start. You don't have any videos yet, but you're gonna start a YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel about?
The Iron Fox.
What is the Iron Fox? I don't know what that is.
That's me. I am the Iron Fox.
All right, that's what the video is about. The Iron Fox.
No, it's about like I want to go address Arte, but I also do want to do gaming as well.
Okay.
And pop culture stuff.
All right.
But I like I said, I'm doing a Skyrim playthrough, and I'm taking it to the next level. I'm going to be doing voice acting, editing, JL editing shifts, some more cinematography that I wish I could do better with this camera, but it won't position the way I want to.
Right. Well, So, but it looks good. It looks good. All right. Well, thanks a lot for being on. You add a lot of value, and I like you're interesting. You're a wealth of information.
I appreciate you, Denver, for giving me a chance to express my information. This
is awesome, bro. This is fun. So, all right, we'll keep on doing that. And thanks a lot for everybody who's watching. And again, if you want to help support the show, there's my Cash App.
Maybe I do some videos on my YouTube. I can put you on there.
Venmo, appreciate that. And then if you go to Patreon, there's the Denver Show. If you could do a pledge of monthly support for that too. And for now, that's it. And now it's time to go out with. I should get an outro thing going, but I always do the intro also again for the outro because it is kick ass. I thank Jay for that theme song for the Denver Show. Man, this kicks ass. But anyways.
Oh, by the way, if you want a new one, go to. I'm sorry, I might have.
No, you didn't. Go ahead.
Okay, you might want to go to NCS on YouTube. No copyright sounds.
Oh yeah. I don't want to know. This one's perfect for the show. It matches perfectly. Okay. But I do also want to give a shout out to the sponsors again. Wicked Wings and Things on Alico Road in Fort Myers. I'm telling you, absolute best. And they got a huge chicken sandwich. It's huge, Reach. Matter of fact, if you scan my page, my videos, you'll see that I've done live from there, and I've shown this chicken sandwich. It's freaking amazing. It's amazing. All right, so you guys, thanks a lot. This is the Denver Show. We'll be back. Take care.